one of the things that came up was like this deep-seated, call it internalized racism.
Happy New Year, Jenny.
Happy New Year, Mike.
And Happy New Year to all the listeners of Asian Not Asian. This is the podcast with all your favorite Asian friends. And some of your Asian friends you actually don't even really like, you know, but
that's being part of a community.
That's part of being part of the community. Happy New Year to all of our listeners. Welcome to season 3.
Woo.
I can't believe we're still here.
I know.
Thank you for sticking through our little hiatus. We needed a little break just because we were traveling and just needed to reset some things. But we're happy that you've joined us. What can you expect from season 3? Fuck if I know. Okay, I think literally 5 minutes ahead at any given time.
Yeah. I mean, who has the time?
Who has the time? I just react. That's it. I'm like an amoeba. You know?
But acting is reacting. Acting is reacting.
What?
Just think about that. Acting is reacting. Does it? What I'm saying make sense? I fully threw Mike off.
What?
I'm saying like when you're like acting in like a scene, most of it's just reacting to something. So what I'm saying is like just like living life is also just kind of reacting to things.
I see. I don't see, but
wow,
that's kind of cool.
We are here a little earlier than usual, folks, and our brains are absolutely not functioning.
Not at all. But again, thank you for joining us. It's just me and Jenny today, and we're gonna do a little catch up. Before that, we're just going to do a couple quick announcements. If you are going to be in the San Francisco Bay Area the first weekend of February, I will be at SF Sketchfest. So I'll be performing at 2 shows on February. There's one on the February 3rd and February 4th. Would love to see you. Come on out. You can find the tickets in the episode description. Or just Google, SF Sketchfest, and then actually it's kind of hard to find me. So just go to the episode description, and I would love to see you. Otherwise, always come check out Hack City, our stand-up comedy show. Again, tickets are in the episode description. We're also going to just quickly shout out some people on Patreon. We've been getting Patreon people coming in, and again, because we're on break, we have to now catch up. We got some interesting ones, and what we're going to do now, what we used to do with Patreon subscribers is you come on, you become a Patreon subscriber, and then we guess your ethnicity. But we're going to expand on that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just a little bit. We've been kind of doing it, but now what I want to do is we're going to give them a little backstory.
Oh, that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, but now more explicitly.
Okay. Yeah,
okay, so
let's do it.
We've got a couple, and again, you can check that out at patreon.com/AsianNotAsianPod, and Patreon is the best way to support the podcast. So thank you very much for all of our Patreon supporters. And here we go. Max Cooker.
I was thinking, because this is my first time looking at this is my first time seeing the back end of a Patreon. It feels like I got a little snippet into the Matrix. Okay, so I'm going to say, I was looking at this and I was like, I don't do well with, I'm going to assume this is like a European name. Doesn't it seem like one?
Yeah.
I was like, I have no freaking idea. Like German? Cooker?
Okay.
Max Cooker.
I can give you the money is coming in US dollars.
Okay, that's good. Oh, I like that the US dollars part comes in too.
Yes.
Okay, so this guy Max he's a lawyer. Actually.
Oh, wow.
He works in entertainment law.
Shit, you're good at this.
Yeah. And he is 36.
Okay.
And is kind of going through a crisis right now. Like, is this really what I want to do?
With my life?
Like, is it entertainment law?
You know, like I make good money. I have tons of cocaine.
Yeah.
But, you know, I could be at a party with tons of models and just be completely alone.
Yeah. Do you think he's Asian?
I think he's half Asian.
Okay. He's what half? Like what is the half?
You mean like the top half? What do you mean?
Or like what flavor?
Oh, I see. Okay. He's half German. And his mom is Japanese.
I was going to say not Japanese.
Oh, shit.
His mom is actually second gen Chinese American.
Wow. Where do they live?
He's from Pennsylvania,
Shit.
but he lives in Nashville.
Oh, entertainment lawyer in Nashville. So
Yeah.
he's big into the music thing.
Yeah, he works for music.
That makes a lot of sense. And then, one day he was doing cocaine in the bathroom at a Nashville honky tonk party.
Yeah.
And was like, there's got to be more to life.
Exactly.
And he just typed
And also,
in,
why won't Jack White work with me?
why won't Jack White work with me? And I've bought so many funny hats so I can match with him, and it's just not working. And he types in Asian podcast into his phone, and boom, rest is history.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Max.
Thank you, Max.
And hang in there, okay? Jack White will work with you one day.
Yeah, I think he really will.
The next one we just have the username that this person gave. So this one is Gengar _orange soda.
Yeah. Gengar orange soda.
I'm gonna say I know who this person is.
Oh, you do?
I do, and he's a sweetheart. And thank you very much for the money. But
Thank you, Gengar.
But based on Gengar _orange soda,
Yeah.
I'm thinking
he's like a really nice internet troll.
yes. I was gonna say he lives in the basement with his mom in his mom's house in the basement. He's on 4chan, but he's like, this is kind of gross. But he's met a couple cool people on there that have been pretty nice.
Yeah. He's like the guy who like argues vehemently for the good things.
Yes, exactly.
Radical kindness.
He's going on AOC's Twitter and he's going, "You go, girl."
Yeah, he's like, wow, she's so eloquent and saying the right things. Slay.
Bam. And then ordering Domino's. That's Gengar _ orange soda. And of course,
Thank you, Mr. Orange Soda.
Thank you very much and for paying us in dollars and not in crypto.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really important. Again, if you want to check out our Patreon, that's patreon.com/Asian Not Asian Pod. Let's just get to it. Let's catch up. We haven't, we've been on break.
Yeah.
But you and I have seen each other a fucking lot.
A lot. We've just become friends, Mike. How does that feel? And none of it's recorded.
I know. I should just carry around the recorder. I've thought about doing that, just like carrying it around, but that would just be
so much.
The weird guy.
No one would want to hang out with you.
You had, I guess let's just cover off on a couple things. It was cool to see you. We saw each other in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yes, which was kind of beautiful. Like the fact that I had like so many Asian comedian friends there at once in like 1 week.
Oh, you mean like in the Bay?
Yeah, in the Bay.
Yes.
That
we
was so
saw
cool.
Dylan, who's been on the pod. We've seen Jess, who's been on the pod. Your sister, who has inadvertently been on the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
And is very nice.
Uh-huh.
I really like her. Who else?
Dylan's twin brother.
Twin brother, which was like...
so fun.
And it's interesting because I feel... they're very different, actually.
They're very different, but they're also very similar. So the context is, I was back in the Bay because I'm from there, but Jess and Dylan are as well. And Mike is not from the Bay, but was spending the holidays in the Bay, which I knew about.
Yes, my sisters live in the Bay now, and we had a big old family party and all that stuff. They live in Walnut Creek for my Bay Area heads.
Your Bay heads.
Where are my Walnutters at? My Creekers. I don't know.
I was born in Walnut Creek.
No, you weren't. Really?
I'm a Creeker.
Oh,
but I never really like lived there. Like I don't remember living there, but I was born there.
It was nice. I feel that we should be really big in Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
There's so many.
You did say that to me.
So many Asian people. It was actually very diverse in a kind of up and coming middle class Asian and ethnic. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My parents said that when they first lived there, because they lived there like when they first moved to America, it was very different. Yeah. And now it's very up and coming.
Well, I went to like a really fancy mall, and there was like just a lot of people with Louis Vuitton. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Asian people, once that we reach a certain critical mass at a certain place,
yeah,
then like the mall suddenly gets like a little nicer.
Yeah, have a Louis Vuitton there.
There's a Louis Vuitton there,
Yeah.
probably. Anyway, so you
We were all in
hung
the
out with
bay,
everybody.
and if to know me is to know that I'm the organizer oftentimes.
Yes.
I'm like the project manager of like pretty much a lot of things. But I was really insistent on getting everyone to hang out because Dylan had moved to LA.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I really want to see him while he's in town because we just like live on different coasts now.
Yeah.
So anyways, a lot of organizing happened and it all kind of spiraled into like, let's all bring our siblings. Jess ended up not bringing their sister.
Oh yeah, I really
Which
wanted
I thought
to meet
was so
their sister.
funny.
Yeah.
But so like we ended up having dinner. Mike couldn't make it, but then Mike invited us to a friend's holiday party, which is very kind of you to allow 3 stupid comedians to come to a nice adult party, which was really fun. And so we all went after dinner to this nice party, completely underdressed for this holiday party.
No, not at all.
It was a beautiful home
Beautiful
in the city.
house. Yes.
Everyone's in like Christmas suits and dresses. We show up 3 comedians in puffer jackets and oversized jeans. And we're like, oh no, why are we here?
No, it was nice because and shouts to my friend Justin, who is like a huge listener, and it was
Thank you, Justin. Your house is beautiful.
his home, his and his wife's home, and his family's home, and it's really nice. When I saw it, I immediately went into existential spiral because I was like, wow, I ain't shit. Have you ever seen? I don't know. You have meet friends where you're like, wow, you have a flashback to that moment when you decided to be a failure in your life.
Well, yeah, when you decided comedy was something you wanted to do.
Anyways, it was really nice. It was a really nice house.
Yeah, it was really nice, but it was really nice to see you and everyone. It was very sweet. And I had this moment of like, wow, look at me. Like I made comedy friends that like span borders. You know what I mean? Like you have to be real friends to go out of your way
cross state lines.
Yeah, but to see each other when you're somewhere else where you're not like in one city and like a train ride distance away. Like you have to put effort and like Dylan and I had to like drive into the city to see each other. And it was just like, I just had this moment of like, wow, how cool. And I needed that at that point. It was like right after Christmas and I've been home for a while. And I was like, oh, I'm like a little bit losing my mind in the suburbs. I love, my aunt listens to this. I love being at home. I love my family. But like, I'm like out not doing my comedy. I'm like just kind of like hanging out in the burbs without access to my car, a car. And so I'm like always hit a moment where I'm like, what am I doing? Am I even a comedian? And then that dinner, we were so annoying and loud. We were so loud, like cracking jokes and talking about comedy stuff. And I felt like me again. And that felt really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You were there in the Bay for a long time.
Yeah, for a really long time, like 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
I do that all the time. Because I skip Thanksgiving, so I like...
Right, so you just hang out.
I do a really long Christmas day to make up for it.
But isn't it a challenge? I mean, being home for so long. I mean, it's like, when you go home, and I think that for, whatever, talk about Asian people, it's like, it's so awesome to see family and it's so good to eat great food again. But then like, as soon as you get there, I feel there's a depression clock that begins ticking. Yeah. And after a certain amount, you're like, it's ticking. And if the alarm goes off, you're depressed.
Yeah, I used to feel that way. This trip, I didn't feel that. I'm cognizant. I mean, made like sure to have social things spread out in certain places to remind myself what life is like when you're not just sitting at home.
You don't have a car?
I have my parents' car, so I have to like plan with my parents.
I see. That's...
You know what I mean? Like that's the part that like I was like, oh, I can't wait to get back to New York. It's like so much of it's like discussion about which car I'm gonna take to what and what's the timeline of my travel so they can have the car back. When I'm at home, I realize why I am the way I am. Because they ask a million questions like, so when will the car be back? When will blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, that's why I'm like this. Like, what time is dinner? And I'm like, let me organize. Like, that's like me. So anyways, it was like fun. I like figured it out. I think how to do a long trip. But what I do lose is the feeling of being creative. Like I have, when I'm not interacting with the world, I'm just like at home, work from home, at home. I'm like, oh, I don't feel funny or like I have any ideas. And that's this part that I feel sad about usually. That's why that dinner and that night was huge for me because I was like, look at these funny people being funny.
Is that cool?
Yeah, I love it.
I didn't realize, you've told me, but I think I forgot that I thought for some reason you lived in the city.
No. I went to high school in the city, but I don't live in the city.
Was that like a long commute?
It was like a 25-minute drive
Oh,
one
that's
way.
not, I guess, that bad. But still, okay. So you live outside the city. So I've never really hung out in where you're from.
Yeah.
So is it really suburby?
No, like it's becoming more cool because all the tech people, like they're moving into it. So like the downtowns are suddenly like, there are bars. I didn't grow up with bars near me. And all of a sudden there's like hip bars and lounges and like wine bars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it is changing. And I have more friends who are starting to like live not only in the city, if that makes sense. Like people are starting to move out. Yeah. Because I'm in my 30s.
Yeah. They're finally moving out. We're 35. Yeah. I just saved $1,000. So,
but it was really nice to see you. But then we also saw each other again.
Recently?
Yeah.
Yes, we hung out again with Randall. Hi, Randall. I don't know if he still listens. I think he does.
If he listens.
But
that was also I didn't expect to see you in between, like when I saw you in San Francisco and then today.
Yes.
And then I saw you.
We have to stop. This is too much. Or at least again, record everything and turn it into content.
I know, seriously.
Yeah. I just very quickly going back. When you go back home, do you have so many thoughts about home?
I used to, but not so much. I think you have so many thoughts about the Bay Area.
I have so many thoughts about the Bay Area.
But that's because you don't like, I go like, let's say I go 3 times a year.
Oh, okay.
I'm starting to, I've had all the thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I guess the first thing is that if I lived in the Bay or like a suburb, I guess.
Yeah.
I would be definitely the kooky neighbor. Okay. Because I don't think I can turn off my creativity.
Yeah.
You know? And I would be out there like, I went to a CVS because I had to get my son got sick. And so I had to get like one of those nose thingies that you like can suck the mucus out of his nose with a straw.
Ew, I didn't know that. Sorry, I said but I have no idea what you're talking about.
I had to go to a CVS. Okay. And there's something you go to a CVS in a suburb and it is like exquisitely sad. You know, the parking lot.
Yeah.
The walk where you get out of the car.
I know what you mean.
You're walking up to the CVS. You go inside the CVS and they got that lighting and they have like the bin that's like right near the door that has like a bunch of, I don't know, stuffed Santa Clauses in it.
Yeah.
And then there's like a Ferrero Rocher display.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, why was I here again? And there's just that experience is so universal and depressing that I think it is actually in a way beautiful.
Okay, I did not know that was gonna be the end of that sentence.
I would take photos I would like be out there. I'd be setting up my tripod, taking pictures of like people going in and out of CVS. That's like, there's something.
You took pictures of it?
I didn't. Oh. I would. Because like, there's something so sad about it that this has to be something. Do you know what I'm saying? That it evokes this kind of emotion in me.
Is that brutalism? What's brutalism? Like that word sounds like, it feels like that's what brutalism is.
It might be brutalism.
I feel like it's like it captures like capitalism. Like the feeling of it.
Yeah.
The cookie cutterness of it. The fact that they are selling kind of like just like anything and everything to you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they're just like, just buy this Santa Claus.
Just buy this stuffed Santa Claus and everything.
And then you'll
fine.
feel happy.
And then you take that and like you just drive home to your house and you're like late model SUV.
Yeah.
And then you get out of the car.
In your home that looks like all the other homes on the cul-de-sac.
Exactly. And then you go inside and then you put the Santa like on your kitchen table.
Yeah.
And you forget about it for like 3 weeks or whatever. And
And then you throw it away.
You throw it away. Or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and you keep it in the Christmas box that's like getting overflowed. It's just like...
Oh, wait, why is that beautiful? That's so deeply sad to me.
That's why it's so beautiful. Because it's so sad. Because this is like most of how many people live, including myself. You know, again, if I lived in this place, I would definitely be doing stuff like this. And you just never... There has to be more than just doing the action. You know, it has to be more than just doing the capitalism.
Yeah.
And I feel if you stopped and thought about it, there is something profound in doing this, even if it is just, I am just part of the machine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's
no.
like what I think.
I'm losing the thread.
I think an artist's job is to like stop and say, isn't this...
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Isn't this actually quite beautiful if you like kind of look at it?
Interesting.
And you know, I think a comedian's job, whatever artist's job is to like show why that would be the case. Maybe it's not, maybe it's stupid, but I've seen, you know, art where, you know, at a strip mall, in the strip mall, there's like a big sign that has all of the different stores. Like it's all like this giant sign that's like lit up. And he took that and he like took one down and he fabricated one and he like put it in a museum and it had a whole bunch of stores and stuff like that, but it like had different messages. But there is something like profoundly hideous and awesome about that strip mall sign. It's just so garish and at the same time, like anti-design that is like, wow.
Are we artists now? I feel like we're talking, I said brutalism. Like I was like, this is a topic that I know close to nothing about. And I'm like, yes. Garish.
Where did you, we were suddenly wearing berets.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't have that thought.
I just think it's interesting. I just think
totally.
It could be really cool.
The lifestyle is completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
You have these thoughts because you're just doing, it's like, it's also kind of a pattern where you're like every day, you know what I mean? Like you're like out there, like maybe you do have to run to CVS again. And it's like the same, like it's like this like kind of mill. Whereas like where I'm here, I don't feel that way. I could get yelled at any moment.
Yes.
You know, like I don't know, it doesn't feel as like maybe like the same exact like vibe all the time.
Yeah. I would love to hear if anyone thinks the same thing. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm probably crazy. It's totally fine. Are you guys on ExpressVPN? How are you not on it? I talk about it every single week on this show. I can't tell you enough. ExpressVPN is the best way to protect your online activity from big tech who likes to track, spy, and profit off you. But there's another reason why everybody likes ExpressVPN, Netflix. Okay, because Netflix has tons of shows that are available only outside the US. So you need to change your country if you want to access them. And ExpressVPN lets you do just that.
What ExpressVPN app does is it encrypts your data and reroutes it through a server location of your choice. This not only protects your data, but also lets you control which country you want Netflix to think you're in.
ExpressVPN lets you choose from over 90 different countries. So every time you run out of stuff to watch, you can just fire up the app on your laptop or smart TV, switch your country, and hit connect.
Once you refresh the page, you'll get a brand new selection of shows. It's that simple.
And here's the best part. It's not just for Netflix. You can use it to watch sports or other shows or other streaming services too. I like using it to watch BBC iPlayer because I'm like really smart. It's free and only available in the UK. You are definitely smart. That's why ExpressVPN is rated #1 by CNET, Wired, TechRadar, and tons of other publications. Visit expressvpn.com/Asian right now and get 3 extra months of the service for free. That's expressvpn.com/Asian, expressvpn.com/Asian to learn more. It's the new year, which means it's time for some resolutions. This year, my resolution is learning how to do the robot. Also, I'm going to update my COVID vaccine booster. An updated COVID vaccine boosts your protection against severe illness, hospitalization, and the worst outcomes of COVID. Find updated vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. 2 days ago, Randall texted us and was like, hey, I'm in town. And he was like finishing up some project. So we're like, sure. And we proceeded to get...
Well, first of all, let's just say that when Randall texts us, it's like... we're like dating him and we're like so giddy. Like it's so, I am. I like always text Mike and I'm like, oh my God, like separately.
What are we gonna wear?
Like a whole separate one-on-one thread where we like panic about like our clothes, where we're going to go, where we're going to take him.
It's very stressful for me. I'm like, oh, gotta find like the cool restaurant for him to go to.
And it's like, we want to prove that we're cool, but we're not trying too hard to be cool.
Yes.
You know, like, it's just like, this is just who we are.
This is just who we are. So it's like, whatever. But at the same time, I'm like sweating.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like changing out my ties and stuff like that.
But yes, we did proceed to have a very fun, kind of drunken night, but Mike is doing Dry January.
What a fucking month to do it.
It was so funny. Because Randall really wanted to like like hang.
I think Randall really wanted, and to be clear, everybody, we're talking about Randall Park. Randall really wanted to turn up.
Yeah, he wanted to turn up.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he wanted to turn up. I was like, I picked a nice restaurant, not like super nice, but like a cool restaurant.
Yeah.
And we had a nice, thing, but like we kept ordering drinks, or in my case, I kept ordering seltzers. And I realized halfway through, I was like, oh, Randall wants to kind of like hit the town a little bit, and then we ended up going to this other bar and having a drink there, and I had to order a mocktail like a dweeb, and then and then we ended up at a late night diner, and it was just like a whole thing. I was like, if I did not in 2023 have Get Drunk with Randall Park in my bingo card.
Yeah, but you also didn't do it. You didn't get drunk.
I did not. I did not.
But I did. And I soft committed to Dry January 2 days before.
You did.
Then I immediately abandoned it the second he was like, should we get a drink? I was like, yeah.
Trust me, he almost broke me, because at one point he was like, Mike, gotta do a shot.
Yeah, just do one.
You know what's funny is I told this story, I told my wife, I was like, oh yeah, we're hanging out and we're gonna have a drink. I mean, they're having drinks and stuff. And she's like, you didn't have a drink? I was like, what? She was like, you probably could have had a drink and be fine. And she's the one always telling me not to drink.
Yeah.
So
it's okay, but you were so strong. I really was amazed. Like, you were just like, no, I'm not going to. And you're like, I'm just gonna stick to it. And I was like really impressed by the ability to not partake in us like getting sloppy.
it's been interesting doing Dry January, because I feel biologically, I guess this is a good thing. Biologically, I don't feel like, oh my God, I really need one.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? But I would say that you definitely miss out on a lot of social stuff.
That's the thing. Like, I don't love drinking, but I love the feeling of drinking together.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I love the feeling of like, oh, we're like starting to be more honest with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after like the first or second drink, when the things start getting a little bit more real and deeper, like that feeling of community.
Yeah.
That's what I really like. I don't love like the experience of drinking.
There is something fun about having a drink and then asking like a really personal question. Like, okay.
Exactly.
Like, we've just had a drink. What was the biggest heartbreak of your life?
Exactly.
And then you're just like, oh yeah. And then like you order another round because it's going to get really good.
Yeah.
That's like, I do miss that.
It's okay. It's only a month. There aren't going to be that many deep conversations. You can do it. You can do it sober too.
I swear, if fucking Aquafina texts us and is like, hey Mike, you wanna? I can't do her voice, but hey Mike, we're gonna go to Mood Ring.
Yeah.
In Bushwick. You wanna hang out? Definitely drinking.
You're gonna drink.
Okay.
Okay, Aquafina, if you want to text us, you're the only person who can break Mike's Dry January.
Please.
One
interesting question that Randall asked, and I've been thinking about it, is he had this funny question where he was like, if you knew the world was gonna end, but just you. Mm-hmm. What would you do in a year? If you knew the world was going to end in a year, what would you do differently?
Mm-hmm. How would you spend that year?
How would you spend that year? And Randall had like a funny like whole thing where he just wanted to party, which is totally fair. But
he would take care of his family.
He would take care of his family, make sure his family's cool, but then like go party, which is fine. I was thinking about my answer, and it was so dorky.
It was really dorky.
It was really dorky, but I do think I think it was generally right. Mm-hmm. I think I may have made some edits, but I don't know.
You said right.
I would write.
And do jujitsu.
I would do jujitsu.
And we were both like, that's how you're going to spend your year?
I would like to amend, and I think I would do those things while traveling with my family in like a kind of like a Winnebago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would be like but I would be doing that.
We did kind of roast your answer.
I know. I just wanted to, I don't know. Okay.
It's very sweet. I like it. But I would not do that.
What was your answer?
I said I would quit my job.
Yeah.
And I would travel.
Yes.
With like to Japan, because I want to hang out with my family in Japan and to be in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But I also bring people that I love with me to Japan.
Yes.
And then like hang out there. I would like fly to like Hawaii and like hang out with family there. I'm not like super close with them, but I just want to like talk to them.
Yeah.
And also in that process, bring people with me there.
Yes.
My thing was like travel, but always with some like just like spending
family.
the time with like the people I want to spend time with. So whether that's like my family or like my closest friends or whatever, and just like have the time of my life and like go to different places. And like just like maximize time doing that. And then I said I would do really adventurous things. That's where I got kind of like some pushback. But I was like, I would absolutely skydive.
Oh, skydive.
Like do stuff that I'm like more maybe not careful, but like scared to do now. I would do that. Because, like, who cares? I have a year.
Right.
So, like, might as well go skydive, like, bungee jump, like, do thrill-seeking things.
I thought it was such a good question because it really did kind of reveal some stuff about the person.
And the priorities.
And the priorities they had, which mine is jujitsu.
Yeah, apparently.
And my family, of course. And, you know, I just think it's an interesting question. I would love to hear from our fans. You know what? Why don't you leave us a voicemail? Gosh, do I still have the voicemail number? Hold on here. Hold the fuck on. I would love to hear a voicemail. You can leave a voicemail. It's just a box. I'm not going to answer the phone. 646-809-7231. 646-809-7231. A question from Randall Park. What would you do if you knew the world was going to end in a year? You alone. It's not like the world knows. It's not like widespread news.
It's not like panic.
It's not panic, but you know. You know it's going to end, and and there's nothing you can do. It's like, you know, something crazy. Mm-hmm. So 646-809-7231. What would you do? Leave us a voicemail and let us know. Are you doing jiu-jitsu? Are you going out on a crazy bender? Mm-hmm. Are you traveling around? Are you just sitting in a hole crying? I don't know. Just you let us know, and we'd love to hear from you.
Perfect.
Yeah. You had something you mentioned before the beginning of the show.
Oh, yes. That I was like, it's a little dark.
It's a little dark.
I've had a real interesting couple of days since being back in New York emotionally. It's been kind of good, but I just wanted to talk about a topic that I haven't fully formed my thoughts yet, but I'm just going to start talking.
Okay.
So in therapy right now, my that's a classic way to start something. In therapy right now.
That's how you say hello in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
In therapy right now. In therapy right now to
that's
you.
Literally, yeah. That is how I function. It's how I build relationships.
Yeah.
In therapy, I am my therapist is really pushing me and talking about like my hang-ups when it comes to romance and dating.
Okay.
Because I think that's a topic that I often skip over, not on purpose, but I feel like I have nothing interesting to say about it or like about myself or like about my life in my weekly sessions. And so now she is like very much like bringing the conversation there. And so we talked about it this week. This is like my second or third week in a row where she's brought it up and was talking about like my hangups on it. And I was just like free, you know, therapy is just like, you just start talking and see where it goes. And one of the things that came up was like this deep seated, what do you call it? Internalized racism.
Oh.
That I am still working on.
Okay.
And how that impacts me and how I see myself in dating.
Okay. And
so, mind you, my therapy sessions was the day that we were having dinner with Randall. So I had a real day that day, which is also why I was like, I need a drink.
Yeah.
So I kind of went in, I've been, you know, as if you've been listening to this podcast, I ended the year being like, I feel really good about myself.
Yeah.
Which I do. I still feel really good about myself.
Yeah.
But so I went into the session being like, nothing's wrong. And then I left the session being like, oh my God, like there's a lot I need to think through. And so I was just like talking about like why dating feels like wasn't part of my life for so long, like until like right after, like after college. And I was saying that in high school, I like actively made like, you know, because of internalized racism, I like actively was trying to prove that I'm not just like another Asian girl.
Yeah.
So I like would hang out with my water polo friends because I played water polo.
Yes.
And I wasn't really part of like, I was friends with the Asian group, but I wasn't like, they weren't like my closest friends. Mm-hmm. I also was like the girl who was like, should we talk about SNL? Like, should we talk about the SNL episode from last night? And like, that was like, obviously like a very specific vibe. So I found the people like that.
Yeah.
Or like, should we talk about Community? Or like, should we talk about Vampire Weekend? Like that was like, those are my interests. So
Sorry. Okay.
During that period, I was friends with like, I mean, I was like friends with like different races, but I wasn't like in like the Asian group. Yes. And so because of that, I think there was like a thought like,
hold on here. Was it your school again? There was a lot of Asians though. There
were a good number, but it's still majority white. Probably.
Okay.
Probably. I don't know. Yeah. It's definitely not majority Asian.
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
And so I think there was something, and I could not have verbalized this at the time, but now when I look back on it, it was like, oh, well, like my friends obviously are dating because like they're white. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, they're like attractive. I didn't like think of it that way, but like they're worthy of dating or whatever. Like they're the people who date. I'm the friend who watches my friends date. That's like how I thought of myself, which is kind of a little bit, I think when I look back on it, probably tied to race, because it's like I'm like the, one of like 3 Asian girls in my group, and the others weren't really actively dating either. Like it was like just some stuff like that I probably I need to still kind of think through what it is fully. And I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think I realize how deep-seated it is in the way I think about myself, if that makes sense. Like,
yes.
I'm very rationally aware of it, logically aware that I like grew up thinking of myself this way. But like, I am still, those feelings are like more than just like cognizant. It's like subconscious. It's like deeply seated in my own like how critical I am of myself and like how I see myself.
Go ahead.
And then when I went to Berkeley, I flipped. Because Berkeley's so Asian,
Very
and I've
Asian.
never been in an environment where it's that Asian to the point where I'm being asked what Asian I am. Like that just never happened. Right. It was just like before I was like, you're Asian, you're part of the Asian group. So then I went to Berkeley, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, like what Asian are you? And it was like feeling not Asian enough.
Yes.
Where like, okay, I don't hip hop dance.
I do.
Yeah. Or like I don't like quite maybe like. Culturally fit in.
Right.
My interests were very like like indie, like whatever. Like I wanted to
Vampire Weekend.
I wanted to wear collared shirts and wear like loafers,
Yeah.
And I struggled there feeling like I fit in. And then I was like, okay, well then I'm not Asian enough to date here.
Yeah. Yeah.
To date the Asian guys here.
And
then I was like, and then I think there's also part of that, which was like, oh, I just like never felt like I fit in.
So you didn't
anywhere.
You didn't like date in college?
No.
Really?
Yeah,
you
but I
didn't
was
have
like
a hoe phase?
I did not have a hoe phase. I was like such a nerd. I was like,
we're all nerds.
I know, we're all nerds. I also like,
I think we hoe nerds.
I never found my people at Berkeley. Like, I mean, if you're my friend from Berkeley, I love you. Like, but I really have
know what
like,
you mean.
I have like 3 friends from Berkeley.
I know what you mean.
But I didn't find my like people.
Yeah.
You know, when you're like, these are my people. Like, I didn't find my heart community people.
Yeah.
Until post college. Part of that is me not knowing myself well enough to know where to go to find those people or how to like even build those relationships.
It's hard, yeah.
But I really struggled feeling like fitting in Berkeley because I was like, oh, like I feel like I should be in a business frat or a law frat, but like I don't really feel like I want to do that. But like I didn't feel like I had enough professional drive there to really fit in.
Yes.
And then I felt like when I would try to fit in with those people, I didn't quite fit in because I wasn't that person.
This is a tricky thing to talk about personally, as a man, as a dude, and I'm talking about my hair. Yes, I have hair, okay? I'm sensitive about it. I wanted to find a treatment for hair growth that took into account my whole body. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol's hair growth nutraceuticals go beyond genetics to multi-target the root causes of thinning, including stress, hormones, nutrition, metabolism, aging, and lifestyle through whole body health. Physician formulated using natural medical-grade ingredients, Nutrafol's drug-free patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sexual health. Hey. In a clinical study, men showed progressive improvements in hair growth and thickness after 3 and 6 months. Nutrafol is also trusted and recommended by more than 3,000 top doctors. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com/men and entering the promo code ASIAN to save $15 off your first month subscription. This is their best offer anywhere, and it's only available to U.S. customers for a limited time. Plus, free shipping on every order. Get $15 off at Nutrafol.com/men, spelled Nutrafol.com/men. Promo code Asian.
We should start a podcast, Jenny. Have you thought about it? We should start a podcast.
We should. This
and
is
it should be called Asian, Not Asian. And that is exactly what the fuck this is entirely about. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we've gotten any new listeners starting from season 3, but if you want to know what this podcast is about, rewind what Jenny just said go back about 5 minutes and listen to it again. And that's entirely what this podcast is about. This is the podcast about Asian people who don't fit in with other Asian people, Americans who don't fit in with other Americans. That's like entirely what this is. That is, it's crazy that you said that you didn't realize this and you had internalized this, because I think you just made me realize it. I mean, I think I did in some ways,
Yeah.
but for you to say it out loud explicitly, is such a interesting.
Oh, interesting.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, like I've thought about it a lot, but I don't. But I like logically, I can like my brain. I'm very like my therapist is like, you love breaking things down a lot, and I was like, yes, because it's the only way I can function is like taking what I have and like trying to make it concretely like, oh, these are the things that are happening. But what's hard is you can notice it, but then the way I live my life is still like, oh, I don't feel confidence in myself.
Yeah.
In these ways, right? I don't think I'm attractive enough because of XYZ. You know, like that those feelings still exist in the way that I like move around the world without me like consciously thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I just started talking and then the session ended and I was like, oh my God. Like there's so much like weird stuff in this experience of mine that like shaped my own understanding of like my validity in romance or like how attractive I am. That like still continues to persist in the way I like live my life in the world. Yeah. So I don't know what the solution is, but that was like what I've been thinking about.
There is no
this
solution.
Week. I don't know, maybe or like I don't know how to like change it, or I guess like this is me trying to work on it. But yeah, it was like a kind of like a big day on Thursday where I just like sat in silence after the session for like 10-15 minutes. Like I didn't even realize I was sitting there, just like internalizing it, where I was like, damn, I thought I was like, you know, sometimes you're like, I'm a fully formed person. And then I had this moment where I was like, damn, I have a lot to work on.
Yeah. Wow. Woo, man. Was there something that, I mean, obviously I think, you know, going to your therapist probably, you know, asked the right questions in order for you to kind of get to this realization.
Yeah.
But was there anything in particular that happened to you that made you think there's something else, you know, like, because I think if you internalize something and it becomes like explicit in your mind, it's almost by definition, how do you make something explicit that is implicit? Yeah. You know? Yeah. Was there anything that made you go, hey, maybe there's something here, I got to pull on this thread?
No, I just started talking.
Oh, shit.
Like I just started, because she was like, okay, well, let's just talk about like your experience dating. And then I was like, I didn't have experiences dating. Like I remember in middle school, I went to a really small middle school and I was the only Asian girl. And I remember people definitely like, you know, it's like middle school crushes. Yeah. That existed. Yeah, yeah. But then obviously, I've like said this a million times, and like this guy, he will never know the impact that he had by saying this, but he said, and he was the one who asked me out. He was like, "Oh, you're really pretty for an Asian girl."
Oh, man, the good old the compliment with the backhand at the same time.
And I think that is the line that like because I remember it still when he said it to me and how he said, because to me I had a crush on him, so it was huge that he said it to me. I was like deeply flattered.
How old were you?
Like 11 or 12.
Oh,
but like that line,
cute, so cute.
So I like a major crush on this person, and then he said to me, and it like that line I still remember. At this age, many decades later.
Yes,
but it's like that. I think is probably the thesis statement.
Yes,
of like how I see myself is that like I am in a little category.
Yes,
and I don't sometimes feel like I am good enough to be in this category, right? Like I'm not enough of that to be in this category. I don't know. Like I just like struggled with that part of my identity, which is like, oh, and I used to be so jealous of like my white friends, where I used to be like, oh, they get to just exist. Like they don't have to like prove anything. Right. You know, like they just get to be themselves.
You don't have to be like, oh, I'm pretty for a white girl or something like that.
Yeah, you just get to be pretty.
Yeah.
Or like you just get to be funny. You don't have to be funny for an Asian girl. You get to just be funny.
Wow.
These are things I'm working through.
It makes me think, you know how there's that cultural concept now, main character syndrome.
Totally.
Right? Where people think they're the star. I think so many times Asian people, we got like sidekick syndrome.
Yeah, 100%. I had sidekick syndrome until like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But I know this conversation is millennial because I think Gen Z is just
I agree.
Growing up in a place where they have been more able to have this conversation, but also we're not maybe like able to understand or like first of all see representation earlier than we have.
Yes, they have.
But also to like just have these conversations like outright from a very young age. Like I'm always so shocked when young people are able to concretely say these things. Like the high school students I went to go meet, they were like so good at talking about race, and I was like, damn, these kids are like 15 and they're able to like use the words that I learned a couple years ago.
Right.
So I'm very jealous of that. But it is. I think there's a lot of sidekick syndrome. I had to really I had to go to therapy to learn that to learn how to not be a sidekick.
Right. This is I think very interesting, and I think a lot of people can relate to this.
Yeah.
You know, that I am not supposed to be the center of whatever attention or desire or whatever, because I'm just like the extra person, you know? I guess we'll have to keep checking in on you throughout the season.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just bring it up when I have like a new thing.
A new
thought.
A new thought about it.
Yeah. But I do think about what would be different if I went to a different high school.
Oh.
And what would be different if I went to a different middle school.
You know what, though? What's crazy is that, like, you would think that in the Bay Area of all places, where at least there are Asian people, because I'm just imagining, you know, we have listeners who are like in the, you know, fucking Wyoming or Idaho, and there's like no Asian people at all.
Yeah.
That's like even, they're like not even sidekick. They're like extra in the background.
Yeah.
You know? So it's got to be even, I'm not to say it's harder for them, but that's like a whole other thing.
It's a different experience. Like I have my friend who's Asian who grew up in the Midwest, and it's like she had a very similar experience as me, but I would say the difference is I can like leave and go to Japanese school and like hang out with, like, have that kind of understanding that like there are a lot of people like me.
But it was also interesting that because once you went to college where everybody was Asian, you still didn't feel like that thing, because you didn't fit into the I guess mold of what Asian, you know, that was dominant in because I hear what you're saying, because when you're at our school, it was very UNI school at Berkeley, it was very career oriented. Like everybody there was very like, I'm going to be a scientist or something like that, or they went to business frats, which I thought was fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
I was like,
but I was jealous because they all had like a thing. I
did appreciate that if other people had a goal, you know, that's cool.
And a community.
Yeah, and they had found other people like them.
Exactly.
Where we should have hung out. Why? We're only 10 years apart. What's the big deal? I was graduating and you were in middle school, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was like, somewhere out there's someone who understands me. And that person was like hopscotch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck you were doing in 8th grade.
I was doing, we were doing cheerleading at recess because one of the girls in my class was doing cheer. And so she would teach us how to do like little pyramids. That's what I was doing. The other kids would snort Skittle sugar.
See, this is where I should have. That's who. Little did people know that, you know, my future podcast host as I was graduating college,
snorting sour Skittle sugar,
was making pyramids. Well, you know, this was cool. I think we're really hitting it hard. I like the tone we're setting for season 3.
Yeah, I'm just going in radical transparency, folks. You're right.
We're going to start a podcast.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you,
We're going to start a podcast called Asian Not Asian. And guess what? You're listening to it right now. Thank you for everyone for supporting us and listening. Tell your friends, take a screenshot, and post it on Instagram or whatever. Fucking TikTok. I don't give a fuck. Let people know about the show, and come see us at Hack City. Come check me out SF Sketchfest. I don't know if you got anything going on soon.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, cool. Jenny's got nothing going on, but so that means she's available.
I'm available.
And we're gonna be talking a lot more about this. We're gonna have a lot of guests coming on this season. Any other messages for this year before we?
No, let's just remember that to be cringe is to be free.
My headphones fell off. That was so good.
I'm gonna be so cringe this year.
All right, everybody, stay cringe.